Good morning.
Hello. Welcome, welcome. Who's joining us?
It's Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see if we get anybody else online. Just by the numbers, you'd be able to figure out. Exactly, I get that. It's fine. I know. I'd love to like modify it in a way where but I mean, there's a lot of benefits to the class beyond Well, let's get started. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. We've got Deb and Olivia on. Is Jerry joining us? No. No. All right, let's come to a seat. So wonderful to still see so many faces here. There's so many goodbyes in May. Or see you laters, I should say. See you laters. So how's everybody doing this morning? Good? Wonderful. All right, so starting in a comfortable seat, we got to find a comfortable seat for you. You don't look very comfortable. How about if you extend your legs out in front of you? Is that better? How about if you grab one of those blocks? So here's another option for everybody. If sitting cross-legged is not comfortable for you, this is where blocks come in handy to create the support for a seat. We call it hero's pose, and you come up on your knees and then place a block in between your ankles and sit back. And if the knees are still really tight, if the front quad muscles are really tight, then you can stack the blocks and then elevate, and you might find that then that takes the pressure off of the knees and the quad muscles. Might also be tightness from the hip that's causing that tightness in the knees. And by sitting up high, you're getting a little bit of a tilt forward in the pelvic to notice my spine, how straight it is, how I'm able to lengthen up through the spine. You can achieve this too if crossing the legs, but sitting on a block. So notice the difference here. So I'm coming forward on the block a little bit versus if I sit back, I'm going to cause my back to round. You don't want that. So you come forward a little bit, having your sits bones rest on the front side of the block. The knees drop down toward the floor. And again, notice how it's much easier to lengthen up through the spine. Notice that versus this. So even for me, you always see me have my blanket. So while my flexibility is, I do this every day. So it feels great for me to do it with a block because it takes the pressure off of my low back. You always see me with my blanket because just even that little bit of lift helps me to lengthen up through the spine. Can you all see that difference with my back when I'm sitting without the support versus sitting with the support? So a seat is very important as we start our practice because you want to give yourself that chance to ground, to become present, and invite the mindfulness part of the practice in. And if you're struggling to sit comfortably, it's hard to take the focus off of that. So there we go. And then are you able to cross a little bit? So extend the legs, try that. How's that feel? Better? Yeah? Okay, all right, good. All right, so finding a comfortable seat to start this morning's practice off in. Feel your chin come parallel with the floor. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out through the nose. Another inhale through the nose. Maybe allow the eyes to soften or close completely. And exhale through the nose. One more full breath. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And just bring your attention to your natural breath. Following your natural breath, inhale and exhale. And I'll read a little something about our yoga practice as you continue to focus on your breath. Yoga is not about being flexible. Yoga is about showing up on your mat daily with no expectations of how it should go. It's about not believing the labels like too injured or too old, and finding a new way to be the best version of yourself. Yoga is a lifestyle, not an exercise program, although yoga has no judgment if you only want to use the poses to exercise. Yoga is about discovering that those crazy thoughts in your head about why you can't or shouldn't are not true. It's about slowing down and seeking something greater than yourself. Yoga is more than what you wear or if you can handstand. Yoga is the ultimate practice of love. So with that said, bring one hand over your heart, the other hand over that hand, and tune in to your own heartbeat. Yoga is not asking you to turn the thoughts off. But yoga does ask us to listen. Listen inwardly and respond to what your body and mind is asking of you. We've all come through some sort of suffering, whether it's physical or mental. We're all working on our path. So yoga can be part of that journey. Yoga involves breath work, physical poses. We're looking to find the union to yoke body and mind to help bring us to a heightened state of consciousness. And by doing that, we invite in self-care, we invite in self-healing, we invite in a release of tension that we've accumulated from when we were very small. Feel your own heartbeat under your hands. So bring your hands now together in where the palms touch, the tips of the fingers touch, the base of the palm touches. You're not pressing the hands into each other where you're creating any tension. It's more just this relaxed touching of the palms with the tips of your thumbs against your heart space. And set an intention for your practice. So something that you want to focus on. It could be as simple as your breath, to breathe through the whole practice. Or if there's negative thoughts that creep in, that your intention is to replace those with thoughts of gratitude. Thank yourself for being here. We chant the sound of Om to open the practice. It's a vibration, really, an opportunity to connect with your own energy and to connect with the energy in the room. So if you're not familiar with it, you could just listen for this first one. You're welcome to join in. We'll do it 3 times. Take an inhale and exhale the breath out. Just take a moment to notice any sensations from that. Let the hands come down to the knees, and let's everybody come to stand. Have the blocks at the top of your mat so they're accessible. Mountain pose. So bring the feet in line with your hips. Have your second toes pointing forward. Just rock forward and back a little bit. So you're really spreading your toes. You're feeling the balls of the feet in contact with the mat. Rock backwards so you're lifting your toes up. Feel the heels. And just a few times forward and back, but mindfully. There's 2 points in the balls of your feet. There's 2 points in your heels. Now ground. Press the feet into the mat. Have the arms just a comfortable distance away from the body, and turn the palms to face forward. Notice, now turn them back. Rotate them forward. Notice a little opening in the chest as the palms face forward. An external rotation for the shoulders. Ground down through the feet. Lengthen through your low back. As you lengthen through the low back, maybe feel a little bit more lengthening up through the spine. Chin parallel with the floor. And just feel this opening across the heart space. Close your eyes and imagine nostrils directly into the heart. As you inhale, just say, I am, silently to yourself. Exhale the breath out. Feel the breath reach your low belly. One more breath right into those nostrils. into your heart space, inhaling gratitude in, and feel maybe a little bit more opening across the heart space. Float the arms up, shoulder height. Open the eyes and then rotate the fingers down like you're opening a doorknob. And then rotate the arms up, rotate down. So start to begin to exaggerate a little bit where you really feel that rotation of the shoulders coming in. And then when you open up that door, the chest is opening even more. Feeling that? And then rotate down and up and down and up. One more time. And start to move with the breath. So then inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward, almost like a swan dive into a pool, and then bend your knees and roll up to stand. Head the last to come up. Inhale the arms overhead, another dive forward, hinging at your hips, press into your feet, draw the belly in, bend your knees and roll up to stand. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. One more time, diving forward. You can put a little bend in the knees as you dive forward and then deepen the bend in the knees to roll up to stand. Float the arms out, shoulder height again. This time, flex your hands. Feels good. Push through the palm of your hands. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. Draw the arms back a little bit so they're out of your peripheral vision and continue to press through the palms. Let's counter all of the texting, the computer work, the driving. So take the arms back just a little bit more. Feel the chest open and expand. And now draw the arms behind your back, make fists, and bring your fists to meet in the back, right at your low back. Now imagine a pencil in between the shoulder blades. Draw the shoulder blades toward each other, the elbows toward each other as you're pressing the fingers against each other, the knuckles against each other. Inhale, the chest lifts, and now exhale, drop chin to chest, getting a stretch in the back of the neck. Keep moving the elbows away from each other. Inhale, lift the chin parallel with the floor, and now interlace the fingers. See if you can begin to extend the arms a little bit. Arms can rest on your back, or you can lift the arms away. That deepens the stretch and opens the chest a little bit more. Chin parallel with the floor, lifting the chest up to the ceiling. Inhale, flip the arms overhead. Maybe the gaze looks up at your hands this time. Exhale, dive forward, finding our forward fold, Uttanasana. This time we'll stay here for 5 breaths, letting the head go heavy. Let the head hang. You can modify, so go ahead and let the arms drop down. Place the hands on. Let tension just fall from the neck. You can modify by bending the knees a little bit. You can modify placing hands on a block. Folding in half, we need to hinge at the hips, in order to draw the low belly toward the thighs. And we're all at different places. So this is where we begin to tune in to making the mat your own sacred, special place where you can make this your practice. One more full inhale and exhale, and then bend the knees, roll up to stand again. And then take the legs, the feet a little bit wider than your hips now. And turn your toes out. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your thighs. On an inhale, we're going to do standing cow and cat. So drop the low back down, your pelvic floor drops a little bit. And then on an inhale, tilt your tailbone up, lift the chest toward the ceiling. And then exhale, now tuck your tailbone under, bring your chin to your chest. Inhale, tilt the tailbone, chest lifts, cow pose. And exhale into cat pose. Inhale into standing cow. And exhale, cat. One more. Inhale, lengthening up through the spine. And exhale, rounding the back, tuck chin to chest. And then come back to neutral, straighten the legs. Now, turn the heels out so your feet are facing the ceiling. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider, lift the arms. So see if you can have your ankle in line with your fingers. Bring hands to hips. Put your thumbs on your sacrum. Draw the elbows toward each other and lift the chest. Inhale. On the exhale, hinge. And find a flat back, so stop halfway. Feel the belly engage, draw the navel in, take the arms out to the sides, press into the feet. Beautiful, arms coming straight out from the shoulders versus sort of, if they feel like they're flying backwards, bring them forward. Lift your head so your neck is an extension of your back. So your gaze is straight at the floor. Engage the belly. So strong feet, strong core, and then lower the hands to a block or fingertips to the mat, coming into our wide-legged forward fold. And then walk your hands out in front of you. Take your hands wider than your shoulders, coming into a wide-legged downward dog. Head is coming in between the arms. So feet are wide. Feet are wide. Beautiful, everyone. So feeling that extension in the arms and in the spine. Feel that stretch for the shoulders and the spine. And then begin walking your hands back. Come back up halfway, hands come to hips, and lift to stand. Turn your toes out again. Bend your knees. Bring the arms up and cactus arms. So where we call them goalpost arms. This is called goddess pose. So you want to try and have the top of the arm taking a 90-degree angle then with the lower half of your arm. Draw the arms back a little bit so you get that the arms, star pose. And exhale, goddess. Inhale, straighten the arms, engage the belly. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, star pose. And exhale, goddess. One more time. Inhale, star. And exhale, goddess. Bring the hands down to your thighs, and then we're gonna drop one shoulder. So right shoulder drops in. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, drop left shoulder down. Inhale, center. Drop right shoulder down. And lift back up. And the other side. Inhale to center, back to cactus arms, goddess. Inhale, star pose, and drop the arms. Heel toe the feet back in together. Maybe a little playful hop at the end. Thanks for playing. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. And exhale, come into our forward fold. This time, hold opposite elbows. And just hang like a Raggedy Ann doll. So letting the head drop down, if that works for you. There you go. Maybe sweep the arms behind your legs, grabbing opposite elbows. And then sweep the arms out to the sides. Put a little bend in your knees, lift the upper body, and come to stand. Arms float overhead, hands come to heart center, Tadasana. Grab your block and place it at the highest height, right in front of you. Take the right leg behind the left. So the sides of your feet are lining or trying to get as close together as possible. Hands on hips. Or you can take it, if it's easier, to bring it in front. Cross it in front. There you go. Yeah. Hands to hips. Lift the heart. Begin to hinge forward. Feel as if you're leading with the heart. Press into your feet for balance and stability. When you get halfway, find that block, bring fingertips to the block. Work here for a few breaths. So this is getting into our IT band a little bit. Our IT band is not muscle. It's fascia. The fascia surrounds the muscle. When we have a tight IT band, have inflammation in that fascia, it might show up as knee pain. You might hinge deeper, bringing the chest toward the knees. You can also put a soft bend in the knees if you need to modify. One more full breath in. Full breath out. Press into your feet, hands to hips. Lift to stand. Release that right leg. Shake it out for a minute. Anybody know that they have an IT band? You do now. If you're a runner or ride a bike a lot, your IT band will tend to be a little bit tight. And then these stretches for the IT band are great for that. So now opposite leg. So if you crossed in front with your right, or if you cross behind, so now take your left either in front or your left behind. And then try and get the edges of your feet as close together. Feet facing forward, bring hands to hips. Start by lengthening up, open the chest, then hinge forward. Lead with the heart. Press into your feet. Oh yeah, the wall is great. Thank you for modifying that way. Leaning forward, use that block for your fingertips to stay halfway. This might be your edge. Breathe into it. So we don't want to hold our breath in poses. And feel some engagement in the belly, the lower abdominal area where you feel like you're drawing your navel toward your spine. To deepen, continue hinging forward. And then start lifting up on an inhale, bring hands to hips, lift all the way to stand and release that foot. Find Tadasana, mounted pose. Take a breath or two just to transition between poses. So a check-in with yourself. Part of our practice is self-study and coming back to that listening inward. Bring hands to hips, a little balance here. Put some weight in your left foot as you lift the right foot off the mat about an inch. And then continue to lift that right leg, bend it to a 90-degree angle. And if the balance isn't there today, you want to move to the wall, you can. If you can flex the right foot, maybe arms float up by the ears. Keep leveling the hips. Don't let that right hip come up all the way up. And then bring hands back to hips, bend the left knee, and bring the right foot behind you. So you're then dropping the right heel down. That right foot is on a 45-degree angle. Hands on hips, keep the hips facing forward. Start bending that left knee a little deeper. If your knee goes past your toe, wiggle your left foot forward a little bit so that you can deepen the bend in that knee. Check in if you're feeling stable. Put the arms up by the ears. Right foot to the right a little bit so that it's not right behind. Now, your right foot should not be behind the left. Imagine your feet standing on two planks of wood. Try to straighten the back leg. Straighten that right leg as much as you can. And then really feeling that extension in the back leg. Warrior one. Full breath in. Full breath out. Begin to drop the arms down as you turn to the right, opening the chest, and now move your back foot a little bit so that your heels are in line, opening up to warrior two. Hips are now facing the side. And then open and move that foot so it's in line with the front. Left knee still bending toward a 90-degree angle. Shoulders stacking with hips. Leaning into it. Yes. So yeah, again, if you see the knee going past the toes, you can widen your toes. One more full breath in. And out, inhale, straighten that left knee. And then exhale, rebend. We're gonna cartwheel our hands down to the mat as we pivot that back foot. So we're facing forward. Plant your hands and step the left foot back, finding our plank pose. So for some of you, this might be brand new. Plank pose, we're lowering the hips enough where we're creating a straight line of energy. Try not to collapse in the chest. Shoulders broaden across. You're doing good. No, it's just if you went to the belly, that's fine. So feel the belly really pull in here. Beautiful. And then everybody bring knees to the mat. So now we're here. Rock forward so your shoulders come past your wrists. Rotate your elbow creases to the front of the room. Bend at the elbows. Lower the whole upper body down at the same time. Hug the elbows into your side body. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Lengthen through your low back. Inhale, lift the chest a little bit to find our cobra pose, a back extension. You don't want the elbows out to the sides. Hug them in, draw shoulders away from ears. Lower down, tuck your toes under, push yourself up and back. Notice the full extension in your arms and your spine. Then straighten the legs, lifting the hips up to the ceiling, finding downward dog. Good. And yes, modifications are child's pose. One more full breath in and out and downward dog. And then lift your head and look between your hands and then walk one footprint at a time to the top of the mat. Lift up halfway, float the arms out to the sides. Little bend in the knees. Lift the upper body. Coming to stand. Arms come overhead, hands to heart center, Tadasana. So we'll start with the balance on the other side, transition into warrior one. So for my friends who went to the wall, instead of lifting the left leg, just balance with your toe. Start just little like this, where your toe is lifting off the mat. Maybe it lifts a little higher, higher, higher. So start at the beginning. Pressure, you're grounding down through the right foot. So for friends who are bringing the knee to a 90-degree angle, hips are level. Root down through that right foot, maybe the arms come up to the ears. Draw the belly and lengthen through the low back. Hands come back to hips and sweep that left leg behind you. Drop the left heel down. Check in. Feet are on 2 planks of wood. Left leg lengthening. Right knee bending. Arms float up to the ears. Warrior one. So our hips are facing forward. Lengthening the left leg. softening the shoulders away from the ears, yet the arms or legs hitting up. If you feel any crunching in the low back, lengthen through the low back. Lengthen down to help stabilize the spine. Drop left arm down as you open the chest toward the TV. Shift that back foot, move it back a little bit so your heels are now in line, and you might widen your stance to a little bit. Left arm down, turn your chest. Scoot that left foot back so it's in line. Turn your hips. Bring this foot back. And the right. Arms reaching in opposite direction. Stay strong over the right fingertips. And again, our shoulders stacking the ground. One more full breath in and out. Inhale, straighten this right knee. Rebend it. Spiral the hands down as you pivot on that back foot. So for my friends who are not going to do this transition in between, just come to Tadasana, mountain pose. Plant your hands, step the right leg back. So we find our plank pose. Drop knees down, rock shoulders past wrists. Bend at the elbows, lower the whole upper body down. We transition into Cobra on our inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes under. Push your seat back to your heels, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Check in with your hands and your wrists. If you feel like you're dumping a lot of weight into your wrists, try pressing into your thumbs, your index finger, and the tips of your third, fourth, fifth fingers. Tuck the armpits under. Try and hide them from your neighbor. Look between your hands and rock the body forward, coming to plank. So options to lower down. You can drop your knees down, lower the whole body to the mat, or for some, maybe bend the elbows, lower 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's all meet on our belly. Stack your hands underneath your forehead. Elbows coming out to the sides. Separate your legs so your toes are pointing to the bottom corners of your mat. And then maybe turn your feet, so flex them, bringing the ankle bone to the floor. Kind of like frog feet. Crocodile pose. Breathe in. So 5 breaths here. So crocodile pose invites us to breathe from our diaphragm. Notice how the belly feels against the floor. So notice where your awareness is going to. Is it going to the belly? Is it going to your back, maybe? This is a beautiful release for the low back. As the fullness of the breath expands the rib cage, it helps release tension out of the low back area. And then bring the legs together, tops of the feet on the mat. Sweep the arms to your side. So your forehead now is resting on the mat. And our back bend today is called Shalabhasana. Keep the upper body on the mat. On an inhale, zip the legs together. Begin lifting the tops of the feet off the mat. See how much of the legs you can lift off the mat, maybe the knees. See if you can start lifting the thighs off the mat. With each breath, see if you can lift a little higher. Keep the upper body on the mat. Notice what muscles you're using in your back. If you feel any clenching in the low back, turn your pubic bone toward the mat to lengthen the low back, lower down. Turn one cheek to the mat to rest. So just let the whole body go soft. Relax the whole body. And one cheek is to the mat, helping the neck to relax. So now we're going to do the upper body only. So keep from your hip points and your pelvis down to your feet on the mat. And we're only going to lift the upper body. So bring the forehead to the mat. Draw the shoulders away from the ears and also turn your pubic bone toward the mat, lengthening your low back. Start lifting the arms, only the arms. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. As the arms get to sort of their max, start lifting the head, the chest. Keep the gaze looking at your mat. You don't want to lift your head to create tension in the neck. You want the gaze to be down. See if you can get to the point where you feel one rib cage lifting off the mat. Notice how the arms flying behind you draw the shoulder blades toward each other. Beautiful. Exhale, lower down, turn the opposite cheek to the mat. So this back bend's inviting us to create an extension more than a strong arching of the back. And then forehead to the mat. Now we're going to do the whole body. So very important to lengthen through the low back. Really have your hip points and your pelvis glued to the mat. Start lifting the arms. Add the legs. Add the upper body. Breathe in. Breathe out. See if you could zip your legs together in the back and feel like you're lengthening out through the toes. Gorgeous, everyone. Also lengthening out through the crown of the head. Feeling that back extension versus a back bend. Exhale, lower down. Turn the opposite cheek to the mat. Bend your knees. Slowly windshield wiper them side to side. And just lower the head. You don't have to work, turn one cheek to the mat. Yeah? So you're relaxing the whole upper body. And then lower the legs down and roll onto your back. Janet, you stay on your belly. The hands here. Rest there. Everybody rolling onto your back, hug the knees into your chest. So just rock from side to side a little bit, massage out the sacrum, that back part, that low part of your back where you feel the bony part. And then drop your feet to the mat. So for everybody now, press into your feet. Have your feet hip distance apart. So feet are in line with knees. And then press into your feet and lift your hips about an inch off the mat. Shift your hips to the right 2 inches. Lower the sacrum back down. Now hug the knees into your chest. Notice they're on a slant, and then let them drop all the way down to the. Thank you. We'll turn the other way. So now we're coming into our spinal twist. By doing that adjustment, if you lift your gaze, you should see your top hip in line with your nose. That helps keep the twist coming from the navel up. Protect the lumbar. The right arm coming straight out from the shoulder, palm face up. You can turn your gaze to look out over that right arm, or you can keep looking at. And then inhale the knees back to center, lower the feet to the mat, straighten out your spine. So now we'll do the adjustment on the other side. So plant your feet apart. And then press into your feet, lift your hips about an inch, shift them to the left 2 inches. Drop the sacrum down, then hug the knees into your chest and lower them down to the right. If you did the other side, make sure you do both sides. So start hugging into your chest. So when we come into a twist, we have kind of this immediate reaction with our breath. It shortens the breath. So find a deep and full breath. One more full breath in. Exhale it fully out. Then on your inhale, lift the knees to center, lower the feet to the mat, straighten out your spine, and hug the knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Lower the feet to the mat. Create a little bit of distance between the backs of your heels and your sits bones, so not as close in as when we do bridge. And then heel toe your feet as wide as your mat. Windshield wiper, drop the knees over to the right. So that left knee is coming inside the sole of the right foot. Inhale the knees through center. Drop the knees over to the left. Inhale the knees through center. Drop the knees down to the right and hold. Float the left arm overhead. The right hand can rest on top of that right knee, the inside of the right knee. Try and glide that left shoulder blade under. One more way to enhance this pose is lift that right foot, rest it on top of the left knee, dropping those knees down. And then release that foot. Bring the feet to the mat as the width of the mat. Windshield the knees over to the left and hold. Start here, float the right arm overhead, gliding that right shoulder blade under. And then the option to deepen this, you can lift the left foot, rest it on top of the right. But if that's too intense, don't worry about that. Just keep the feet on the mat, the knees, windshield. Feel a release in that right shoulder. See how you can soften it. And then release that foot off of the knee if it was there. Bring the knees back to center, lower that right arm. Let the knees, your feet are as wide as your mat. Let your knees fall together. Bring your hands to your belly. Inhale to the count of 4. And exhale to the count of 4. And allowing your breath to become involuntary here. Just notice the softness of the belly. to the best part of the practice. With the knees in this pose, this constructive rest, it allows the inner groin muscles to be in a more relaxed state than if you extend your legs long onto the mat for corpse pose. And with the work we did today with the IT band, this might feel a little bit better for the low back than full corpse pose today. Just as life is full of distractions, tuning into your breath. Sometimes we might have the urge to itch, scratch an itch. See if you can just tune into your breath. To allow the mind to not be distracted. Life is a constant distraction. It's how we respond to it that matters. So using our practice to bring us to a state of calm. Giving our nervous system a chance to release stored tension. Feel like you no longer have to hold yourself up because the support of the earth under your body is holding you. So notice where you're holding yourself up still, even lying on your back, and notice where you can soften that breath. Just as it takes years to create that tension, that rigidity, it takes years to start to release it. So one little step at a time. This is the first time on your mat or your 1000th time on your mat. Inhale gratitude for taking this step towards self-care. Knowing that wherever you are is the right moment. And knowing that yoga is not about a handstand. Begin to deepen your breath now. Invite in small movements, wiggling your fingers and your toes, circling wrists and ankles, straightening the legs out, take the arms overhead for a long stretch. Hug the knees into your chest, rolling onto your right side, and taking a couple breaths there on your right side to just allow the energy to come down from the heart into the body, awakening the body. When you're ready, coming up to a seat, sitting in our easy seat, crossing the legs. Feel the sits bones root down and the spine tall. Maybe soften the gaze or closing the eyes. Inhale, take the arms around overhead, bringing the palms to touch. Draw down gratitude and thanks into your heart space. A soft bow of the head toward your heart. Taking a moment to just take that breath directly into the nostrils of your heart, breathing in love and gratitude. Thank yourself for being here. I thank you for being here. The light in me sees and honors the light that's in each of you. We'll close the practice with the sound of Om. Take a full breath in, sigh it out through the mouth. Namaste. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Nancy. That was a great class.
Thank
Great class.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Deb, Olivia, thanks for joining us from home. For any of you heading north, stay with us on Zoom.
Tomorrow, for 2 weeks.
Oh,
No, my does yoga every morning. I'm staying with her, so. Hello.
but the pillow, depends on the pillow, you might still go right through.
I
to
tried
the-
with towels.
It's fine, then you just take your time. You're great. And then when you sit like this, what if you take blocks, and you should get thicker blocks, those are the thinner ones, and cross your ankles a little bit and then put the blocks right here and see if that works. Can you cross at the ankles right here? And then take the blocks. So, well,
A little more.
and then really, like, I would be nothing without my blanket. And being able to fold it, it really just that little bit of lift. And I see it with you too. You've got the natural pelvic top. So if you bring a blanket and you can use that edge, and you could do it with the block. But with the block, it's, you know, it's not the most, it's more comfortable with the blanket.
Yeah.
But with the block, and you bring it, find your sits bones are right here, and you sit on the edge where then you get that tilt forward and that rounding out, right? Because if you're sitting back and you still maintain that turning forward, you want to bring it up, and immediately it's like somebody has a strength here, lengthening the spine. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but your knees are okay where you could do heroes first, right? So you might, anytime we take a seat to do heroes, and then, yeah, you draw them together. Yeah, you could sit if, yeah, and then, but I would do it with, try it with a block. Just see how that feels. Bye, Angela. So, yeah, when I get home, I'll